Guys, we're ready to start.
I'm going to start in 10 minutes.
So let's go.
10 seconds. Hello, my name is Sarah Swick. I am a senior at Bishop Foley and co-chair for this year's conference. It is my privilege to be the first to welcome each of you to the 7th Annual Pro-Life Youth Conference here at Everest Academy. This year's theme, The Innocents Let Their Song Be Sung, was inspired on the Feast of the Holy Innocents. The Feast of the Holy Innocents calls to mind Herod's soldiers slaughtering the innocent male infants of Bethlehem. He had them murdered because he was told that a king had been born in Bethlehem, and he was afraid of losing his power and his life of luxury to another king. So he figured the easiest way to continue living comfortably was to get rid of the threat by killing the children, hoping baby Jesus would be among the victims of the small genocide. The conference planners felt that this is an appropriate event to reflect on in this conference because even though it occurred 2,000 years ago on the other side of the world, we can see it happening around us, in our own times, in our own country, in our families, in our friends' lives, and in our own lives. Only this time it's not as obvious. They're obviously not soldiers running through our streets, bearing swords on horseback, and our soil isn't literally soaked with the blood of the innocents. We feel like the dramatic, almost theatrical image of this feast helps awaken a sense of urgency, calling attention to the sacredness of all human life and the respect it deserves, especially the defenseless and the most innocent among us, from the unborn to the elderly, from the foreigner to the challenged, and from our Hollywood idols to the misfits roaming our school halls. For us, it helps the realities of pain, fear, destruction, and the culture of death set in. This feast reminds us that human life is still under attack, but this time the battlefields are the places we live our lives, our homes, our schools, anywhere we are in contact with other people. We either uphold human dignity or we tear it apart. Today's attacks are a very real thing. These empty seats around with the caution tape are reserved for our peers who have fallen victim to abortion. They would be our peers, our friends, our classmates, our bandmates, our boyfriends and girlfriends, our neighborhood hangout buddies. They would be just like us. 1/4 of our own generation are the casualties of this war. In some way, every person in existence participates in the conflict between the culture of death and the individual human being. We affect it in 3 basic ways: our words, our choices, and our prayers. It's too easy to forget how powerful our words can be. Our words can cut through a person until they wish their heart would be ripped out to end the pain we have inflicted. And other times, a comment we make is what gives a person the strength to make it through the day. We may dare to discuss the heavy things that are generally avoided and offer a point of view that someone had never realized existed or had never really thought of before. It may cause them to approach a question differently, and they may gain some new sort of understanding as a result. This is the way our words have the power to convert minds. The second way we engage in the conflicts hiding around us is in our choices and what we do in our everyday lives. We could scowl at people, or we could talk to them. We could help our neighbors, or we could pull pranks on them. You could donate a weekend a month to some movement you are passionate about, maybe join an organization that you hear of today, or you could totally do something in your own style, maybe create a blog or a website. You could start a group or write a song, whatever action makes the most sense to you to defend life. Or you could spend every weekend briefly entertaining ourselves at the movies and allowing our views to affect only ourselves. We could encourage a friend in a crisis pregnancy situation to choose life and actually live what we believe and what we gather here today. Or we could passively accept their decision to abort, and as if their decision only affected themselves. And finally, praying is probably the most powerful thing we can do to defend the innocents. Prayers affirm our personal beliefs and convictions on an individual basis, and it calls a higher power than any of us to become an active participant among us in the fight for the culture of life. We recognize that we are only instruments, and that prayer is the power behind everything we do. Through our words and choices and lives, our prayers can come alive and take on some perceivable, tangible form. So our words, choices, and prayers are all ways we reveal the side we choose to live for, the culture of life or the culture of death. Every soul is precious. Every individual person is meaningful. Every action of ours, no matter how small it may seem, counts a lot, because in some way it accepts or rejects life. One final thing I would like to point out is that everyone in this room has the support of Building Bridges and many others in your efforts to uphold the dignity of human life. When you act on behalf of life, you are never alone. It's impossible to be alone, because you have many friends in this room. And the Song of the Innocents will continue long after this conference ends today, and long after we all go to sleep tonight. Life has already triumphed, and love hasn't ended. On behalf of the planners, all I would like to request of each of you today is to keep your heart and your mind open, and that you become an active participant in this day as we attempt to let the Song of the Innocents be sung.
Hello, my name is Daniel Popeil, and along with Sarah Swick, I co-chaired the conference. I'm so happy and so excited to see all of you gather here today to celebrate life. Today, you will hear many great speakers give powerful testimonies and important information regarding our generation's genocide, abortion. My question to you today is, what are you going to do with the information you hear? Will it just simply go in one ear and out the other, or will you act on it and become involved in the pro-life movement? It is up to us to begin to change our culture into a culture of life. Abortion will not be overturned by politicians, but by each one of us working together and striving to change our culture. Look around you. Do you see the empty chairs? The victims of abortion, our classmates, our friends, our future? Our generation has lost so many lives. How many more must die before our culture is overturned? It is time for us to say enough is enough and to change our history. It's time for us to make the next generation a full generation. We cannot let evil continue. Abortion is just one element of the culture of death. If we don't work to stop it, who will? Edmund Burke said, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing." So today, I encourage you to make a promise to yourself and to keep the promise. I want you to promise yourself to fight for life in whatever way you can. I ask you to get involved with a pro-life organization, attend pro-life vigils, or help out at pregnancy centers. Most importantly, I want each one of you to pray for the pro-life movement and for the change of hearts for our generation. Without prayer and without God, our work is futile. The fight for life won't be easy, and it will take time to change the hearts of our culture. The first step to changing the culture is to change ourselves first. So I encourage you to go to confession today. And then I urge you to go and pray in front of the Eucharist in the chapel. And the confession rooms are the two rooms next to the chapel. So anytime today, feel free to go to confession and to go to Eucharist and talk to God. Talk to God and ask what your role will be in the movement to change hearts and to change our culture. As you see in the hallway, there are many booths, and I strongly suggest that you visit the booths, take some flyers, and find out more information about life. The hardest part about today you will have is to pick out the workshops that you'll be attending. So right now we'll have a group of people. They will say the workshop they're attending and a brief statement. So if you guys haven't decided yet what workshop you're attending, you can choose real quickly right now.
Come to session 1 if you're interested in looking at the culture of death through the eyes of Hollywood. Come to session 2 if you want to hear the story of a woman who was conceived and raped and why we should still choose life. Come to session 3 if you want to hear Matthew Hill's inspiring story behind the fears of an unborn baby. If you want to watch real footage of the developing baby through all 9 months of pregnancy and see for yourself that this is not just a cluster of cells, go to number 4. If you can speak out in your community but don't know how to start, come to session 5 and learn all about the lifestyle. Go to number 6 with dear Michelle to share the story of her own abortion and learn how crucial the Eucharist is in the fight for life.
Come to session 7 if you'd like to learn about how to combat the culture of death with faith and learn how to read the Bible and learn its true meaning. Come to